Hi everybody, this is Caitlin Classing here with the September vlog for Etc., aka Pops. And the video we have for you this month is his last competition, which was the Young Event Horse class at Surefire Farm, one of my favorite venues from down in Virginia. But Pops had a very busy September. It's sort of getting to the point in his life where he's figuring out his job, and I think for the young horses it can be good for them to get out and sort of repeat exercises, and it's the same thing with going to competition. So with young horses, if we have a jump school, we might leave that exercise set up for them to go and do it again in 2 days, see what they've learned, and it's a little bit the same with competing them. They start to get the idea, and you want them to say, oh, okay, this isn't so hard. I go and I do it. It's just a part of life now. So he went to Seneca Horse Trials at the beginning of the month, and then I think it was the next week, and he went to the Fleur Lee Farm Horse Trials. And at both of those events, I was really happy with how he had improved in the jumping. He was much more forward and starting to figure out the cross-country and show jumping phases, which was nice. And then in the dressage portion, we're watching here the Young Event Horse test, which they've actually done in a large arena, which I really liked. You don't always get that, but I thought that was a really good idea for the young horses. It gives you a little bit more time to keep them straight and forward. You don't feel like you're always running into a wall. So I thought that this test was actually, for me, the most appropriate test he'd done this month. At the other two events, there was a lot more atmosphere, there was more going on, he was a little bit more distractible, and he tends to get kind of balled up when he gets distracted and when he's not quite on my aids as much as I'd like. But here it was nice. It was not a lot of atmosphere. The young horse was the only thing going on Friday. So we were able to really let him relax and kind of show off his gaits and show off his quality. And here you can see this is still my favorite gait, and the best quality gait I think he has is his canter. It's lovely. But you can see even in the trot work, he stays pretty consistent in his rhythm, and to me appropriate for the level of training that he's at and the age that he's at. He always stays either at or slightly above the vertical, reaching out for the bit, which I think was probably the most appropriate test he's done. And if you go back and watch the tests from what had been like Fair Hill and Plantation this spring, he was quite bottled up and would get a little bit uneven in the rhythm and fussy in the contact. And here, especially in the walk, you can see I'm really able to let him reach and keep pushing forward. And so I think this is showing, to me, good development in his training, and I'm quite happy with how he was able to show off his gait, show off his ability in the ring here this past weekend. And then I always find it funny for the young horse test, it says leave arena, so I'm never quite sure how to pull that move off, but we do a little courtesy circle so he doesn't learn to just scoot out the side or the exit, which we actually try to get everybody to do with any horse, older horses as well. It's a good habit to make sure they're going straight out of the exit and not falling out their outside shoulder. So here we have the jumping phase, and you can see actually that's my dad there. He got to cheer us on. My mom is videoing, and that's Melissa Hunsberger, who rode Pops' mom before I did, which was really great to have those guys out cheering him on. So the warm-up here was quite a distance from the jumping area, which some of the horses, because I rode a few others, they're really taken aback to get up there and be like, oh, okay, we're still jumping. Now Pops is a little lackadaisical, so I think for him it maybe actually wasn't the worst thing in the world. He's like, oh, okay, well now I'll maybe pay a little attention. But you can see, the shape of the canter still needs to improve, and the shape over the jumps is getting better, but you'll see as we go on to the cross-country jumps and we're able to ride a little bit more forward to the fences, to me it improves, and he definitely respects them a little bit more. So here we go on to the cross-country, and I start to pick up the pace a little bit, let him keep traveling. We want, even for the young horses, for them to learn that the jumps kind of hold them, so you can keep coming forward to the little jumps and don't feel like you have to come down to the fence dictating the stride. You can keep the balance, keep the rhythm, and then keep riding to the fence. And you can see, I don't know actually if you can see, but there I switched my stick over to the left hand. All the other horses and the trailers and everything were off to the left. So it's not like I switched it to give him a spanking or anything, but just switched it so that he knew it was there. So that he had a little bit of a door to close with his outside shoulder, keep him straight, keep him thinking about looking for the next jump rather than thinking about going back to where his buddies are. But yeah, you can see he's just cantering and jumping right out of rhythm, and I'm quite pleased with how he handled this little cross-country course here, because it also doesn't show up so much on the video, but there was quite a bit of terrain. I think that's a good test for the young horses. Can you canter up? Can you canter down? And handle that. And then here, I actually probably should have gone the other side of those gates because it's a little bit of an awkward turn, but he still catches that table really well. And then we go down, and I also thought it was quite spooky, but that's the other nice thing about the young horse classes is I did get to hack him down here, where you have to go from light to dark, and there's a ditch down here right at that sort of entrance to the woods, which could be quite spooky, but you were able to go and walk through that area, sort of show him where he was going to be going. There he has quite a bold pop over the ditch, which was nice, and then through the water, and he's, if you'll remember from his first outing, he took a dislike to the water, but as he's gotten more broke and more committed to the idea of being up in front of my leg, we haven't really had an issue with it. And then coming up the hill here, he's a little deep to this, but he makes a really nice shape over. You can see the difference from that to how maybe he jumped some of the show jumps. So I believe, and rightly so, I think that he was scored higher on his cross-country jumping than his show jumping marks. And then this I thought was a really great question. You go down the hill, and then you've got 1 or 2 strides straight before the little coupe. And then we gallop up. So he did actually get his qualifying score here, but unfortunately I didn't realize that this qualifier was held after the closing date. So I have sent in my entry for Fair Hill, and fingers crossed we can get in, but if not, we're just going to keep plugging along with his training, and I'll definitely keep everybody updated.